From the Fathead Studio in Speedway, Indiana, this is The Skinny.
Oh, there you are, sweet Jesus. Come back to Papa.
The highs and lows, are just can be pretty brutal, that place. But, I think that's what is so fun about it is the challenges.
I saw Will Power smack the wall out of 4 with 10 to go. He's still going.
Dixon?
No. Connor.
Oh, Connor, yeah.
Yeah, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, Connor, and, you got to pick a direction, pal, and I'll stick with you.
Oh, I don't know. You lose track about halfway through.
I go to move one, it's full of methanol. Both of them are full of methanol. Big bang. I turn around and the glasses are smoking. And he goes, whoa, good thing you gave me those, right?
I'm Scott Dixon.
I'm Antron Brown.
Hey, I'm Ron Cap.
I'm Connor Daly.
I'm James Hinchcliffe.
What's up? I'm Vaughn Gittin Jr., and this is Skinny.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of The Skinny. I'm Ken Stout, Rico Elmore, the big man, sitting right alongside, and we'll have another great special guest here, but I want to talk about where we're at first. Vaughn Gittin Jr. sitting right alongside because he's here to race. Where? At the Big House. Crandon International Raceway. It's where it's all going down. They call it Fall Crandon. It is the big show of the year, Labor Day weekend, and the best of the best have shown up. Some in excess of 400 race teams are all out here doing battle over the course of the weekend. And of course, he'll be part of that Ultra Force show. Can't wait to watch that. I want to get your opinion too. You've been out there, you've been on the track. That rock garden is straight across from our RV that we're looking at, and it looks brutal, dude.
Yeah, it is absolutely brutal. First of all, I'm super pumped to be here. This is one of my favorite races of the year. And year after year, we're constantly seeing, what we're doing growing and people staying late to watch, and it's really cool. And Crandon's put some time in to not only build out, the rock garden that you guys are seeing, but out back, they've laid just an unbelievable challenge of rocks, built out a beautiful viewing area for everybody that's going to be all lit up. So it's pretty amazing.
I know you've been out to the King of Hammers, of course. By the way, a complete career change, it seems, from the drifting, which we'll get to. I know you have a lot of fans that want to follow up on what's going on there, but you've been to King of the Hammers, you come here, completely different atmospheres, if you will, different tracks, different setup for the vehicles. How do you approach it?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I came here in 2010. A lot of people don't know this. I came here in 2010 with Monster and Casey Curry and drove a stock truck. We found an F-150 in the back of someone's yard and had so much fun with it. And to be back here racing some real trucks is a lot of fun. From transitioning from drift to this course specifically, it translates very well, right? It's all vehicle placement. It's all, putting the traction down. While we are spinning tires and drifting, we're still feeling that grip and getting the drive out of the car. So, and then, this track is no stranger to letting you go a little bit sideways. So, it's a lot different than I ever imagined to approach a race like this. The constant changing track conditions. Obviously, we got to set up, to go through the rocks and jump and get through turns, which our Fox Live valve suspension allows me to do very well. I don't have to compromise anymore. But it's an absolute blast, and it's crazy competition in Ultra 4 Series. It really is.
Yeah, I mean it's unbelievable. And I was just thinking about I was reading some things on you earlier. I mean, the drift thing, I was amazed with how the drift thing took off the way it did. And I'm even more amazed with the car placement. And you just brought that up with this. And I mean, how all of that stuff works. I mean, how does one teach themselves to do that?
Yeah, I started drifting, it's crazy to say, it's about 20 years ago. I built my first car on my back in my garage and fell in love with the culture and the sport and just spent every dollar that I made at the time, on building cars, right? And, it started out in parking lots, and at that time, we all really didn't know what we were doing. So we're kind of learning from ourselves based on videos. And, it was just kind of like we were constantly elevating each other. And the sport continued to progress in that way. And it just eventually, like rocket boosters got on the teams, and everybody started dialing grip in the cars. And, now we're competing in, 2,500 to 3,000 pound, 1,400 horsepower race cars. And, we've got 315 millimeter Nitto tires on on our drift cars. They're super sticky, and then the car's pulling up the front corner in turns, pulling well over a G sideways, spinning the tires. And, it just, for me, it's kind of just been a natural progression of just, practice and practice and practice. And, but now, back then, a lot of tracks didn't even want us to come to their track. And now there's drift events in every state, multiple times a month. And it's just still one of the fastest growing motorsports out there. It's, obviously very exciting and short bursts, which is relevant to the attention spans of our fans and myself included. It's all been a great passion of mine, and it's something that's very attainable. And but this year I decided to step back from competing in Formula Drift. Like I said, I've been doing it for 20 years. Ran all over the world, had quite a few accolades under my belt, and decided to put my competitive energy in off-road. I'm no stranger to it. I used to race motocross. In fact, that's why I chalk up a lot of my skill behind the wheel is from what I learned on a dirt bike. And, so this year we're running 2 cars in Formula Drift with 2 drivers, and myself and Lauren Healy are very focused on the Fun Haver off-road team and running Ultra 4, including King of the Hammers and a lot of the rest of the championship.
I was kind of curious because you said 20 years ago, obviously going back to 2002, and I remember I was announcing a lot of drag racing, but that was the beginning of the import craze. Yep. And it seemed like those two, the drift and the import craze, kind of grew together. Did the sport of drifting start in Japan, or was it simultaneous?
Yeah, it did. The sport of drifting did start in Japan, and that culture, the import culture was very inspired by that. A lot of the Japanese drivers and Japanese teams were doing really impressive things with 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder turbo cars, and that kind of that culture kind of evolved. People picked up on that. I kind of chalk it up to like people wanting to do something different than just muscle cars, and then after a while, it kind of got a bit, America as we do, kind of added our own style to it and flavor. And in 2005, I fell in love with the debut of the Ford Mustang, and I had to have one, and that kind of people thought I was crazy for bringing that car into the sport. And that year I won the USA versus Japan, and that was kind of the shot heard around the drifting world, and really was a really big launch for my career.
Yeah, I read that, and that for sure is highlighted here. One of the questions I want to ask you to find out, what was that like? Was there a vicious rivalry going on?
Yeah, well, Japanese drivers, drifting, was inspired by Japan. It started on mountain roads in Japan, and then there's a series over there called D1GP that kind of turned it into a sport. As you guys know, drifting is judged. So that started to come over to the U.S. It started, in the streets and industrial parks, and then events started popping up, and then competitions started popping up. So they came over 2003, 2004, and just wiped the floor with all the American drivers. And in 2005, we had debuted the Mustang. This event was at Irwindale, and we were on it, and we had the setup, and we had a great team, and halfway decent driver, and in general good vibes. But yes, there was a rivalry. This was Japanese sport.
That's what you want that competition.
Absolutely, and these drivers were amazing. And that night, it just so happened that we ran through quite a few of past champions, and it was just one of those. One of those nights you're in the zone and you're untouchable, and I just never forget standing on the top of my car and destroying my roof like a monkey. And it was an epic moment. And then we backed it up in 2007 with a world championship. It's just been an incredible ride. And it's not over, but I'm enjoying. I'm a professional fun haver, and I enjoy challenging myself and inspiring others. And that's what my compass is.
We're here to get the skinny on a number of things, and if you're like me, I want to know the skinny on the judging when it comes to drifting. We're going to see if we can get him to commit.
It is just sensory overload. It is one of the most mentally and physically challenging sports, even though it is 30-second runs.
The Skinny is brought to you by Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive. General Tire. General Tire delivers. And Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04.
Welcome back to the Big House. We're at Crandon International Raceway, a remote show here once again with the Skinny. Great to be up here this weekend taking part of all the fun. Ken Stout, Rico, Elmore, and we have Vaughn Gittin Jr. on the set with us as well. Getting a little behind-the-scenes look at some of the drifting action. We talked about how this thing started and how cool the competition was between what was going on between us and Japan at the time, the drivers, if you will. But as I watched that sport develop and come along, of course the cars are cool. You guys are rolling smoke. Anytime you're going sideways is fun. I mean, we love Indianapolis because we get to do it in the snow, right? I mean, everybody starts drifting in the snow, so we certainly enjoy it. But to watch you guys take it to a professional level is very cool. But then to understand that you win or lose based on somebody's opinion, 2 or 3 people's opinion, leaves the door open for a gray area for sure, and it also leaves it open to politics. How important is it?
Yeah, well, you know, I think it's important to kind of, when you're watching drifting, you kind of just shift your mind to an action sports mindset, right? Skateboarding, BMX, freestyle motocross, all judge sports, you know, a lot of Olympics, right? So I think, you know, I don't believe that there's too much politics in the sport, but I do believe that there is, you know, human perspective and opinion that comes into it. So there's very laid out guidelines, right? There is a line that is defined by markers, right? You have your outer zones that you have to fill, meaning, you know, there'll be a cone, you know, there'll be a markers from one wall to the other wall on a bank. You got to run, you know, 6 inches off the wall. If you're 10 inches, you're not doing it. Then there is angle, right? How sideways you are. You driving with light angle, you know, or are you have your car just to be fast just because? So there's a balance of speed and angle. Then you have your, you know, your overall impact. That is how committed you are. That is, are you full throttle? Or are you just skating through the track? Or are you dialed in, your car gripped up, and you're just hammered down, fully committed point to point? And so it's very clear to us as drivers what the judges are looking for. You know, when you're out there qualifying a single car, you have to run, you know, the perfect line, you have to have the greatest angle, and you have to be committed. When you're running in competition, right? So after qualifying, you go into a bracket, just like an NCAA bracket, right? First place versus 32nd, right? And the bracket goes down. And so when you're in competition, now it's a dogfight. The highest qualifier will lead first, and the lowest qualifier will chase first. When you're in the lead position, it is your job to run that perfect qualifying run. It is the chase driver's job to mimic the lead driver and put the vehicle everywhere the lead driver is with proximity. So when you are being judged in that in competition head to head, it's basically the judges look for lead versus lead, chase versus chase. And so whoever did best in the lead versus whoever did best in the chase, if they can't make a decision based on the criteria that we are given in the driver's meeting, then it goes one more time and you battle it out. And, you know, for a driver, it is just sensory overload. It is one of the most mentally and physically challenging sports, even though it is 30-second runs. You have got to be the best you've ever been in your life in that moment. And whereas, you know, and just to compare it to what we're doing here, this has been easier for me on a mental level because I'm so used to getting in and out of my focus on a race weekend. Whereas here I get to go out, I get multiple laps, I'm in the truck, 20, 30 minutes. I can make a couple mistakes and make up for it. Whereas drifting, there is no mistakes. You have to be the best you can be. And so 2 very different sports, but you know, very similar car control required, and the mental toughness is very relevant.
And I'm assuming hit a wall, hit a cone, hit a car, get demerits.
Yeah, so if you touch a wall and it doesn't affect your line, like if you just graze it, that's fine. Like that's actually good. But if it upsets your vehicle in any way, it's too much. So it is a big deduction. If you bounce off somebody's door, if you just rub their door and just leave a little mark, amazing. But if you affect them in any way, that's on you. So it is such a fine line. And really the game is risk versus reward, just like out here. You know, you have to be smart and know how hard to push. We have a spotter that's telling us what the competitor did on the last run versus what we need to do to get the win. And you know, there's some personal style and approach to it, you know, and that's, you know, it's very different than like road racing where everyone's running for the same line, the fast line. there you can definitely tell the different drivers and sometimes who they are outside of the car by the way they drive. But yeah, it's a very fine line of you're killing it or you're going too much.
He's a championship drifter at the highest level. When we come back, we're going to pick his brain a little bit about that car that he uses to go out and drift with.
Annihilate a set of very sticky Nitto tires that the average person will probably get 30,000 miles out of them, and we'll get 2 laps.
We have Vaughn Gittin Jr. on the set with us here at the Skinny, finding out a little bit of how it goes down whenever he goes to a high-end drift event. Of course, he knows exactly what it takes to win one of these and runs one of the cars at the highest level. And we were chatting with you about it before and all the intricacies that it takes to be good and give the judges what they want to see. But when you're inside of that car, the one thing that I always think about, and maybe it's from being out here calling short course off-road and seeing people eat roost, right? But it seemed to me like, man, whenever you're really with somebody good, you're driving in the smoke, you've got to be almost completely blind. And I would have to think that that's also a tactic that the lead car wants to feed to the car that's trailing.
Yeah, I mean, it may look like a tactic, but at the end of the day, they're just doing what they have to do, in the lead to give the judges what they want. And if you're committed and you're hooked up, you're blowing smoke. So the key for the chase car is to be in the pocket where the smoke is, just missing you. And then on transitions, there's a little bit of muscle memory going on there because you are blind for a moment when you have to go through that smoke line. And depending on which track, it can be bad. I mean, I've been smoked out and completely lost where I'm at and lost battles because of it. So it's definitely one of the challenging things of the sport.
So talk to me about the car, because the cars are unique in the way you go, like anything, any other form, and I'm sure there's different levels, different classes, where you can start off with one that's not as modified, work your way up to the highest level where you guys are now. You talked about the big power, but clearly when you see the front end of the cars and the tires flop over here, I mean, you can really put some angle in these things.
Yeah, so we start out, obviously we choose to compete with the Ford Mustang since 2005, proud to be doing that, and which, by the way, the new Mustang's coming, and I cannot wait for everyone to see it. But basically, we start with a factory unibody directly from the plant. We get it from Ford as a body in white, which is known as. We have to use production subframes, but we are able to modify them within, I believe it's 2 inches of factory suspension pickup points. We do make our own steering arms and spindles to allow for the steering angle and the geometry that we want, right? Everything that we do and every part that we put on the car is to be able to be adjustable, to set the car up to get the forward drive and the side drive that we want out of them. Very similar to a dirt track car. We're literally the mix of a drag car and dirt track car drifting. So, that's the front end. And the rear, very similar. We've got, our own billet control arms that mount to the factory subframe. We use Winter's quick changes in there so that we can change our gears very quickly. We've got 4-speed dog boxes, full Motec data acquisition and ECU. And then what everyone loves to hear about is the motor. So what we run is a Ford Performance and Sandy Wilkins Racing built RY45. There's a motor that Roush Yates made originally. It's a 455 cubic inch. It's got the FR9 NASCAR heads, but we're not limited to the block size and all that. So it's a 455 cubic inch, and we run about a 300 to 400 shot of nitrous, and it's basically the way we have it programmed. It feels just like a very big naturally aspirated motor. So it's very progressive, and it's just unbelievable. And it basically allows us to annihilate a set of very sticky Nitto tires that the average person will probably get 30,000 miles out of them, and we'll get 2 laps. Every competition is, we're just there. You get 12 laps of practice. Teams got to get their car ready to compete in those 12 laps, and then it's game on.
So do you still have involvement with Roush Yates, or is there a different engine
Yeah, so we still run the same motor. We had great support from Roush Yates for a long time, but they've gone a different direction than those motors. I think they're very focused on the NASCAR program and a couple other programs they've got going on. So we transitioned over to actually an ex-Roush Yates employee, Sandy Wilkins, and we still run that platform. We've developed it further than when we were with Roush. You know, we continue to progress. We've got some amazing, engine partners like Mala that, make sure that we got the proper stuff in there to handle the abuse, and we'll get a full season out of a motor. We probably could get 2, but we rebuild them just for safety's sake. It's too much on the line at this point for engine failures.
So quick question on the front end. Are you allowed, we see the huge degree of countersteer that you're able to put in these cars. Are you allowed to modify a little bit of opening? I mean, I would think that they would almost get into the frame as far as they go, one way or the other.
Yeah, so the wheels are brought out quite a bit. So from the factory track width, the wheels are out probably 100 millimeters-ish, 75 millimeters. So we don't get into the frame. We are able to do whatever we want to do with body work.
To the body, so you can spread it out that way.
Yep.
Get your clearance.
Exactly, yeah. So we run RTR wide body, front and rear on the cars, and envelope the wheels as needed.
And the technology, the electronic technology that's developed over the course of time, I'm sure you've seen it from going back to 2005 to now for the nitrous and how it's applied. Has to have really changed the game for you guys, like you said. So you can almost drive it as an NA motor, but you're using that assist.
Yeah, it just it basically just comes on as command, based on throttle position and things like that we need it, and it's really impressive. Like our tuner Ray, he's our technical director, and he's just a magician with it. And we come in and we're like, I'm feeling this right here, and he's like, yeah, I see it in the data, doot, and rah, it's really cool how we can control it for the track. Sometimes you want less. Sometimes it just blow right through the grip of the track. So it takes a driver that really knows what he needs. It takes a team that knows what the competition's doing to make sure that the car is ready to beat whoever you're competing against. Because if you are too hooked up to chase a guy that's a little bit slower than you, well, then you're just going to be running to his door, straightening up because you can't keep the car lid off. Of course, when you're in the lead, if you can run away from him, that's the easiest way to win. But it's not that easy because everyone is fast.
Wow, interesting stuff for sure. Vaughn Gittin Jr. on the set with us here at the Skinny. We'll be right back.
What the mindset is, it's really for those that just wake up every day and find the fun. I feel like fun is a mindset as much as it can be a physical activity.
The Skinny is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive. Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear, hardcore since '04. Toyota, let's go places. And General Tire delivered.
We're having a great time here at Crandon International Raceway, and Superstar sitting alongside Vaughn Gittin Jr., giving us some insights on the drifting scene. I got to ask you, man, you've got uber talent. You can flick one sideways, any direction you want to go. So you're getting on an interstate or you're coming out of a parking garage and you've got a friend sitting beside you. Ever launch one sideways?
I'm not going to say I haven't, but I will say that, I get to drive so much on the track. I'm actually a pretty tame street driver. But definitely, in my early days, it was definitely.
Great stuff, man. Hearing about these cars and what they're capable of, for sure. Let's shift gears here a little bit. And I love the bugs flying around down here in the bar. Attacked us all of a sudden. But I love the moniker Fun Haver, and familiar a little bit with Cletus McFarland, and of course he runs Fun Haver as well. I noticed on the Stadium Super Trucks, big event down there they're having this weekend as well. Curious where that started. Is that you? Is that him? Is that both of you together?
Yeah, so Fun Haver started with me. It's an inclusive brand and lifestyle. For me, it was a little while ago. We were just kind of doing an assessment about where my future is, and this was 2014. And I just looked at my team. I'm like, look, I'm a professional fun haver. I want to go have fun, inspire people to have fun, and share fun. And the brand, right? When you look at it, what the mindset is, it's really for those that just wake up every day and find the fun. I feel like fun is a mindset as much as it can be a physical activity. I enjoy sitting here and chatting with you guys. I enjoy business. I enjoy, putting smiles on faces. And so, for me, having fun is a lot of different things. And so we launched it as a brand, with just initially apparel for those that resonated with it. And it's really taken off into something really cool that a lot of people are feeling. And for me, that's the coolest thing, when somebody really starts to resonate with your idea, your concept, and gets on your vibe. And Lauren, my teammate, the Fun Haver Off-Road team, right? We're partners and teammates in that. Cletus is Fun Haver driver, and we've been helping him get kicked off in SST and working with him. He's got he got one of my old Formula Drift Mustangs, so supporting him. And we've got it's an inclusive brand, right? It's for those that I think the world right now really just needs fun. I think it's really a lot of fun, and love is the answer to a lot of things, right? And so that's really where it came from. And so when you say, is it mine? Is it? It's ours. It's anyone that wants to be a part of it, and that's why I started it.
So you started with apparel. Where did you go? What else do you guys have?
Yeah, so we've got apparel. We do experiences. We've done quite a bit of right now, like the Bronco Off Rodeos. Myself and Lauren helped develop those experiences. Ford really just wanted to create fun experiences for Bronco owners, so they reached out to the Fun Havers, and we did that with a great team. Like the auto show experiences, we're helping those and curating, drives and things like that at events. We pop up at enthusiast events, give rides, put on a show. We have some hard parts. We just came out with a steering angle kit for the new Mustang. We've got a full line of Bronco parts coming out under the Fun Haver Off-Road line. And it's all driven by the compass of fun, but we're able now to, have some business around it, and, not only merchandise and experiences for people that want to be a part of the lifestyle, but actually parts to enable you to have more fun with your vehicle.
So where's it available? Online?
Yep. Yeah, fun-haver.com. You can check us out at Fun Haver on Instagram. And we've got a lot of fun stuff coming. It's still, while the brand's been around for a while, it's not been like just a key focus. Like, I believe in letting things grow very organically. That's what I did with my RTR Vehicles brand as well. Just do things that I'm passionate about, that I believe in, and I think that people just appreciate authenticity, and it resonates, and that's how I believe you build something strong.
So as you build and develop stuff like your automotive parts and pieces, is that done initially at your shop? Tell us about your shop. Like, how you're based out of Charlotte, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So talk to us about that and where you build all these cars and where these ideas come from, and then do you source them out, or do you guys actually manufacture everything yourself? Yeah,
so we have two facilities. One is in Fun Haver Off-Road, is run out of New Mexico, and all of our on-road stuff is run out of Charlotte. I actually. It's so weird to even say this, but I bought one of Kenny Schrader's old NASCAR facilities.
Oh, I know exactly. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because he moved everything to Missouri. I'm friends with Kenny.
Yes, I bought his old shop.
That's awesome.
And every day I drive there, I just pinch myself that, like, this is happening, because I'll never forget in 05, I went and saw some NASCAR shops, and I'm just like, what? And just like blown away at them, and now I drive to one every day. So anyway, side tangent. So basically at the RTR lab, there is some overlap between Fun Haver and RTR on the engineering and test fitting side. So on road, a lot of it, my designer and I are really, really good friends, and we just love and live it. And so a lot of the ideas and concepts, originally have come from us. But now we have a team, and a sales team and an engineering team, and it used to just be me throwing things at the wall, what I thought was cool to get, and now we have a little bit different of a process. I probably would have made us go broke if we didn't. But
I understand totally.
Like where the sales team helps develop the things, what things people are wanting, and then I get some of the things that I'm wanting in the balance. And but I'm involved in just about every product on the on-road side. So RTR Vehicles, we make aftermarket parts for only Ford, fully focused on Ford. I just have a passion to see Ford win, and we've got Mustangs, Broncos, F-150s, Rangers, full turnkey vehicles, as well as just aftermarket parts. Then on the Fun Haver side, a lot of that stuff comes from Lauren's experience. So it's a mesh of our aesthetic style, Lauren's experience of function, and we mesh it together, and that's the more hardcore. So the way I explain it to people is RTR Vehicles is more like OEM plus. This is more like the mild, put the parts on your driveway, very good performance increases. You know, maybe you can't put a blower on in your driveway, but all the other stuff is relatively easy that a Ford dealer, you know, or someone, you know, with good mechanical skills can install it. The Fun Haver off-road stuff is a little bit more hardcore, you know, where, you know, we don't care if you can see a little bit more of the frame or, you know, this or that. It's all about function. It's all about clearances and being able to handle the massive abuse a guy like Lord Healy is going to put it through. So we have a, you know, really good balance there, and things have been going extremely well for us.
So does all of your apparel and stuff come out of Charlotte? Is that where you run
Yep.
that out of?
Yeah, and so our apparel team is out of Charlotte, and all the apparel is done out of, you know, under the Fun Haver and sold through Fun Haver. And, you know, we make our TR Vehicles apparel, and all of that is kind of done, you know, under one house, but obviously two different brands, two different, you know, styles and approaches. And it's really cool because a lot of people resonate with all of it, but it's also unique enough that, hey, if you for some reason you're not a Fun Haver, you might like our TR for some reason, you know, so it works out like that.
When we come back, we're going to shift gears and dig into that Ultra 4 vehicle he'll be competing with here this weekend.
Whereas our trucks really shine out here and in the desert, and they do very well in the rocks. The compromise is minimal for us, but they have a big compromise for the way they're set up.
We learned an awful lot about this man sitting at the table with us, Vaughn Gittin Jr. so far. Of course, a bit about his drifting days. Also heard a little bit about the business as well. We're going to shift gears and talk about why he's here at Crandon International Raceway this weekend competing in the Ultra 4 vehicle. And I had a chance to walk over there inside of the pits. I've really never been up and close personal to one of those vehicles until today, and had a chance to take a look at yours. And one of the things that the guys pointed out right off the bat was the damper technology that's going on inside of those vehicles. I definitely want to hear about that. But talk to us about the amount of travel these vehicles have, what they're capable of doing, and how long does it take you to get used to, say, at speed, there's so much body roll, it seems like, and maybe this new damper package controls that to a large degree, but it seems like to have all that travel, you have to monitor how much roll there is there. You want the speed on the fast part, but then you have to get over the boulders as well, which is a completely different animal.
Yeah, so I'm racing two trucks this weekend. I'm running my stock class Optima Batteries Ford Bronco, which is basically bone stock drivetrain with suspension, and we'll call them analog Fox shocks, 35-inch tires, very strict rules. Now moving over to the 4400 class Bronco, also known as Brocky.
That's the Mac Daddy, right? That's the Mac Daddy
That's
class.
the unlimited class, and it's unlimited. And also, speaking of Brocky, we've got $37 RC cars in Walmart of that truck that just came out, and I'm so crazy to go to Walmart and see that. And but you know, the truck itself, so it's a full tube chassis truck. We run 40-inch Nitto Trail Grapplers here. We'll run 42s at King of the Hammers.
Wow.
At King of the Hammers, we'll run our portal setup, which will give us some more clearance in the front with the 42s, and because it will run over massive boulders, like make these look like nothing. But here we're set up with our short course setup, so we run different suspension arms, get the lower ground clearance, and you know, the tires are the same, but 40-inch. Then moving over to the motor, we've got what's known as a Ford Performance D motor. Jeff Ginter Racing has built us a really amazing endurance motor out of the D platform, 460 cubic inches. We run a 3-speed transmission, just like a lot of the guys that aren't running the sequentials out here, and just bulletproof, you know, axles. Now, the difference in our vehicle and a lot of the ones you're talking about with the body roll, we run independent front suspension. You know, just like a production Bronco has changed the game in this market with independent front suspension. A lot of the trucks you're seeing with all the body roll are a lot of the live axle cars, especially last night's 45 and 4800 trucks that are really more better suited for the woods and rocks, whereas our trucks really shine out here and in the desert, and they do very well in the rocks. The compromise is minimal for us, but they have a big compromise for the way they're set up. But one of the magic technologies that we have on our truck, and this is new for us this year, is the Fox live valve suspension. So just like the Raptor Bronco or the Raptor F-150, you know, it's a suspension that is constantly monitoring and adjusting based on the terrain. And we've been working with Fox all year. constantly developing it. You know, we started off, did some testing, and it's just a constant evolution. But the vehicle is constantly adapting to whatever my inputs are and whatever the vehicle is doing. You know, it collects a lot of data, and it's an ECU for a computer. In fact, I was just in, you know, the trailer with Mike Kim looking at my data. We saw some things that weren't ideal and made some adjustments that are going to help me out this weekend. And so I've got a couple settings on the fly. So when I go on the rocks, I can change them if I want. If the track, you know, if they send us out on a wet track, I can make adjustment and let the truck roll a little bit more to put some more grip down. Or, you know, we start to get blue groove, I can stiffen it up and, you know, do the things I need to do out there. So it has been an absolute game changer, because until now, everything is a compromise. Whether it's production vehicles or racing vehicles, you're either setting up for the turns, you're setting up for the jumps, you're setting up for the rocks, and now we have it all in one package. So it's just a massive, in my perspective. It makes it easy on me because I don't have to do the decision making. I make enough decisions, so it's nice to just get it in the box and have a nice setup that can handle just about anything.
Pretty cool stuff for sure. We'll take a quick break here. We've got one more segment to go. Time flies by when you have somebody like this on the set. We'll be right back.
What are you guys doing? Like, go drive these things. And I'm like, we're mobbing. He's like, no, go drive them. And so we just started beating on them.
The Skinny is brought to you by General Tire. General Tire delivers. Toyota. Toyota. Let's go places. Lucas Oil. Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. And Fatheads Eyewear. Fatheads Eyewear. Hardcore since '04.
Once again, welcome back to Crandon International Raceway. We have Vaughn Gittin Jr. with us. I'm Ken Stout. That's Rico Elmore. Having a great time here, picking his brain, getting the skinny on this guy, if you will. And he brought it up just a couple of moments ago as we wrap this thing up. I wanted to let the fans know what you're doing. Expand on this a little bit for me. You launched the Mustang RTR in 2010. Your vision for a new generation of Mustang. It has, of course, evolved. 2017, you had more RTR vehicles, introduced the Ford F-150, and then the Ranger, and now a Bronco RTR. So it's pretty cool that you went out, saw the success that you've had, able to develop that relationship you have with Ford, and now you have your own brand. So if the fans want to go buy a Raptor, they can get an RTR style Raptor. That's you. Yeah, we actually, the Raptor is one vehicle we don't do. Frankly, Ford makes that so good. You know, we could maybe do a design package for it, but there's not too much performance that we could do, you know, with it right now. But yeah, you know, RTR started, you know, for those of you wondering, it means ready to rock. For me, it's just something I say. It's kind of a lifestyle mindset for me, is being ready for anything. And when I first got into my Mustang in 2005, I just felt there was really nothing for me or my generation out there, stylistically and just mindset-wise. And so it inspired me to build something fresh. And we launched with Mustang, and now we've evolved into all the different Ford models. And you know, we just have a very unique, you know, modern, aggressive styling. You know, we have a different approach to suspension and making vehicles just with the mindset of driver enjoyment and an amazing owner experience. So, you know, we do, you know, aftermarket single parts to full turnkey vehicles that you can buy at Ford dealerships. You know, you can buy a, you know, design package all the way up to 750 horsepower, you know, Ford Mustang. So, and then, you know, the Broncos, we focus on protection and aesthetics. Ranger, you know, very similar thing, lift them up, wheels. And you know, we do a very intense engineering beyond what a lot of, you know, you expect the aftermarket to do. And we stand behind our products and have a lot of fun building them for our customers. You know, we also do a lot of really one-off, you know, large-scale projects like Ken Block's Unicorn. We built that. The all-new electric Mustang Mach-E 1400 that we debuted about a year and a half ago, 1,400 horsepower, 7-motor electric car. So, you know, we are, you know, at the forefront of technology, and we have a different mindset of what performance is. You know, it's not just going fast. You know, performance is everything from looks to how you feel behind the wheel to what the car does for you, and of course, you know, smoking your competitor.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We were talking off camera a little bit. I mean, the Raptor is unbelievable. I mean, it is neat, and the Bronco. I'm going to look up what you guys do to that, because of course I I saw Tony's new one and a couple of other ones out there. It's a great vehicle. It's unbelievable what they did with it.
Yeah, they killed it. And Lauren and I had the privilege of being out with the engineers and at the durability loops with the Bronco just before they launched. And I'll never forget this. I mean, Lauren and I are there, like, you know, kind of pumped that we got to test a new Bronco before everyone else. I mean, it's
sure.
like it's so anticipated by us too. And we're driving them around, and the engineer stops, like, "What are you guys doing? Like, go drive these things." And I'm like, "We're mobbing." He's like, "No, go drive them." And so we just started beating on them, and it was unreal. Lauren and I both left. I'll never forget leaving Johnson Valley. Like, do you believe that these things are coming out and you can do that? So it's incredible, and Ford is just killing it. And you know, it's an honor to be a part of the brand and you know, do what we can to bring fun to it. Yeah, I've been with Ford since 2007. In fact, Farley and I got at Ford roughly around the same time. So it's been really cool to see his success. And you know, it's you know, for what I do and my mindset of the type of brand that Ford is, it's so amazing to have a CEO that's, you know, pushing into the future, that, you know, on the weekend jumps in his one of many race cars and thrashes on them. And he's a heck of a driver.
You know that last name, right?
Oh yeah.
You know his cousin, right?
Oh yeah.
So it was Chris Farley, the CEO of Ford. His cousin was Chris.
Awesome.
So
There's a fun haver.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And you know, so Farley was at Toyota before, and so I have a huge relationship, as we do with the show, with them. And I mean, nothing but great things to say about him, and what he's doing with Ford is I know that they've moved it around a little bit here and there, but I love their direction all the way around.
Yeah, he's got vision. He's got vision, and I believe, a decisive leader. And when you run a company like that, you got to be. And I've been enjoying you know, what's going on with it. So
As we wrap things up here, can the fans go to any Ford dealership and order an RTR version? We do have a couple versions that are out available through any Ford dealership. We have our Series 1 Mustang RTR that any Ford dealership can get. But our, you know, other versions, our Spec 1, our Spec 2s, our Spec 3s, or any of the Broncos, just go to rtrvehicles.com and we can get a dealer locator, or one of our guys will set you up. We also build vehicles in-house at the RTR lab through our Built by RTR program. So we can turnkey it for you. We can buy you a new Mustang, build it, and you can come pick it up. I'll walk you around the car, and we can maybe even have some fun in it. And so the real cool perk to that is you get it through a dealer, you still maintain your warranty stuff.
Oh yeah, we don't void warranties. We match the factory Ford warranty, and you know, we got very little warranty claims. We do the engineering on the front end.
So when you order it through the Ford, does Ford drop ship into you guys, and then you guys ship it back out on the carrier to the dealer?
Yeah, so we are not doing drop ship right now. We will be doing that in a bit, most likely. But right now, it's just we have the ability to get vehicles, and we just, you know, bring them in from the dealer and build them up and either ship them out, or people come get them delivered. You know, come to the lab, get a tour, maybe do a couple donuts on our skid pad.
Well, we race down there. We do a lot with the NHRA, and we're in Charlotte here in about 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm gonna look you up.
Yeah, love you to stop by, man. Check it out since you saw it last when Kenny had it.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff for sure, man. Talented businessman, talented race car driver, out here having some fun at the big house. Thanks for taking the time on a very busy weekend, man. We know you adjusted your schedule for us, so thank you very much.
My pleasure. It's a great combo, and have fun, guys.
Vaughn Gittin Jr., now you know the skinny on him.